Hi guys, welcome to our project, History of Newark Addressing Crime and Poverty. I'm Samprit, and my team members are Anjar, Josh, and Leanna.
All right, so today I'll go over the main argument. So Newark's history is deeply intertwined with persistent challenges in crime and poverty that have left lasting scars in the city's landscape and continue to affect its residents today. With the poverty rate significantly higher than the national average and crime rates that, while showing some signs of improvement, remain high compared to national averages, Newark faces a challenging and multifaceted crisis that demands urgent attention and innovative solutions. The city's history with past events such as the 1967 Newark riots has initiated a cycle of poverty and crime that has proven difficult to reverse, mainly affecting minority communities and continuing inequality. Structural issues behind crime and poverty, often obscured by media narratives that stigmatize Newark as a place only of crime and poverty, contribute to racist ideas around the community members who live here and obscure other aspects of Newark's history, culture, and community contributions. Despite efforts to revitalize neighborhoods, improve public safety, and promote economic development, concentrated poverty and racial disparities persist, reflecting a problematic picture of progress alongside enduring hardships. Addressing the root causes of crime and poverty in Newark requires a holistic approach that focuses on creating economic opportunities, improving educational outcomes, and enhancing public safety to foster a more equitable and prosperous future for all residents.
In the 1900s was a mass movement of African Americans from the South to the North, specifically Newark. It was fueled by factors such as racial segregation, better economic opportunities, and fair living conditions. Newark's location was made attractive destination for these migrants with its proximity to Ellis Island, easy transportation to New York, and booming industrialization. Most migrants were offered very menial but labor-intensive jobs in factories and warehouses. Despite new job opportunities, African Americans still faced job discrimination, segregation, and racial tension when it came to housing, education, and public spaces. At the same time, another problem which threatened many of the migrants' lives was police brutality. Already facing unsanitary housing conditions, the job inequity, now Newark's migrants face excessive use of police violence, unnecessary stops and searches, and verbal abuse. One particular case of police brutality that sparked the idea of Meek for Change was the unfair arrest and beating of an African American cab driver, John Smith. The unfair treatment would further be a catalyst for Newark's 1967 rebellion. This era was marked by intense civil unrest, protests, property damage, and clashes with law enforcement. As a result, Newark's rebellion led to a political shift in power with more representation and activism in Newark's first Black American mayor, Kenneth A. Gibson. It also promoted efforts for urban renewal, scrutiny of law enforcement, and better job opportunities, as well as access to healthcare. Some statistics and current problems. Newark's population today is more than 300,000. It's considered home to a variety of different individuals like Latinos, African Americans, Italians, Germans, and more. While actions have been taken after the Newark Rebellion, there are still plenty of issues within Newark streets. One health concern is the air quality in Newark. Due to growing industrialization, air pollution is severe and poses a risk to young children and people with asthma. Another major concern for the city's residents is severe affordable housing shortage, as officials are unable to gauge how much residents can actually afford. Due to high-priced housing, Newark streets are filled with homeless individuals, and in a 2021 report, 1,274 homeless persons were counted in a single night. However, officials are doing their best to provide shelters and provide transitional programs to permanent housing. Lastly, Newark faces the issues of giving control to Black communities with school curriculum, policies, and hiring. It is a known nationwide issue that there is not enough education provided grounding in African American history and achievements.
Now we're going to talk about the root causes. There's four of them. The first one is economic disparities. In the history of Newark, we can see that the city has faced major economic challenges. We have seen a dormant minimum wage, and it inordinately affects Black workers most who are actively employed in minimum wage jobs. Raising the minimum wage could remarkably benefit these workers and their families, suggesting a direct relation between economic policy and racial economic disparities. Number two, racial inequality. Historical policies such as redlining unfortunately systematically denied Black families the opportunity to create current and generational wealth. Through homeownership, perpetuating racial segregation and smothering economic mobility, this legacy continues to affect Black Americans, contributing to the persistent wealth disparities. Three, historical injustice. The long lasting impact of historical injustice like segregation, discriminatory practice, and housing and employment has continuous effects on economic opportunities open to the African Americans. And a good example of that is the 1967 riots, which highlights the racial injustice and economic inequalities and create a civil unrest. Number 4, school funding inequities. Racial and ethnic segregation in New Jersey, especially in Newark, highly affects the school funding and the communities of color, quite often being a primary source, which is the loyal Americans for law and order. These are its principles, as you can see to the left, and it was formed right after the 1967 Newark Rebellion in response to the organization saw godless philosophy subverting the Negro communities, where it's found waste and ignorance and lawlessness. You can continue to the next one. Now I'm going to be talking about the media representation and stigmatization. Number 1, prevalence of negative stereotypes. The media typically paints certain racial and ethnic groups with intolerant and negative stereotypes. For example, African Americans and Latinos are often depicted in the roles that may keep alive stereotypes, which can impact public perception and donate to a cycle of stigmatization. Number 2, impact on community perception. The portrayal of communities of color in the media can largely impact how they are both seen internally and externally. Negative media representation can hugely lower self-esteem and decrease perceived value of community among its own members as well as the eyes of the general public. Number 3, role of Black media. Black media outlets play an important role in highlighting community issues in a positive light, introducing historical context and canceling out mainstream media narratives. Number 4, long-term effects of media representation. Continuous negative media representation of Black men and boys have been proven to create a long-term detrimental effects on the public perception and on the individuals and communities themselves, impacting their opportunities and social engagement.
Alright, now for efforts for change. Public safety. Newark has implemented a comprehensive approach to enhance public safety, focusing heavily on community-based initiatives and violence prevention. A notable step was the establishment of the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery, which coordinates efforts to address trauma and violence as public health issues. This office is part of a comprehensive approach to enhance public safety, focusing heavily on community-based initiatives and violence prevention. This office strategy has brought in a significant investment of $19 million over 3 years, aimed at reducing violence through community engagement and support for at-risk groups, as you can see in the pictures. Also for economics, there was an economic recovery plan by Ras Baraka, which was by the mayor Ras Baraka, which launched a 2-year recovery plan to tackle the economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The plan is supported by federal fundings and aims to create jobs and support small businesses and foster equitable development throughout Newark, which includes affordable housing and community investments. Projects like the Millard E. Terrell Homes redevelopment, which specifically targets the creations of affordable housings to promote economic stability amongst the residents. Now, for some of the case studies, Newark Women's Aid is one of them. This provides a crucial support services for women facing domestic violence. This organization offers direct access, accommodation and support services essential for women and children who have experienced abuse in Newark. And then community-based programs, initiatives like the Ironbound Community Corporations and La Casa de Don Pedro offers programs tailored to the community's needs, including education, family services, and environmental justice. The Newark's Violence Reduction. This initiates has been a pivotal role in reducing violence in the city of Newark. A UCLA evaluation highlighted that from 2016 to 2020, the Newark recorded a significant drop in homicides, reaching a six-decade low, the NC not only reduces crime but also strengthens the community trust and public safety. The city's commitment is further underscored by the allocation of 5% of the police budget to the new Office of Violence Prevention, aiming to address violence as public health issues by the Newark Community Street.
So some future prospects are economic development initiatives. We have community engagement and empowerment, education reforms, public safety improvements, and collaboration with local stakeholders. All entitled, like, these things are meant to kind of progress the future of Newark and kind of have a prosperous role in being pivotal to kind of create new reforms. In conclusion, Newark stands at a pivotal moment in its history, grappling with persistent challenges rooted deeply in its past while striving for a brighter future. From the legacies of the Great Migration to the scars of the Newark Rebellion, the city's journey has been marked by resilience, activism, and the relentless pursuit of justice. As we confront the structural issues behind crime and poverty, we are reminded that the urgent need for innovative solutions that address economic disparities, racial inequalities, and the enduring impact of media representation. Yet, amidst these challenges, there is hope. Through community-led initiatives, investments in education and work development, and a commitment to an equitable growth, Newark is poised to rewrite its narrative and shape a future where every resident has the opportunity to thrive. Together as students, community leaders, residents, and anyone who believes in change, let us embark on this journey, honoring the city's rich history while building a more inclusive and prosperous tomorrow for all.